Yo, so lately with Kendrick's album coming out and just in the past couple of years, I've been seeing the word classic get thrown around way too much. I swear, people on Twitter are a whole different breed. Whenever an album comes out and they like it, it's a classic apparently. Classic, it's the new classic, guys, it's classic. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that. So I'm here to clear some things up and throw in my opinion on what a classic album really is. Usually, as I said, I see people giving out the classic label to an album they just really enjoy. As soon as Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers dropped, Twitter was filled with people calling the album a classic. Kendrick Lamar really combined the accessibility with the sensitive storytelling. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is a classic. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is already a classic. Kendrick Lamar stands the time. The more I listen to Mr. Morale, the deeper it hits me. This album's a classic.
No, nigga. No. No!
Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers doesn't have potential to be a classic album, but it takes way more than just being a good album to be a classic album. I mean, for my first point, I'd say you need to give an album some time. One of the most important things for them becoming a classic is the album's replayability. In my opinion, if an album can hold on its own legs 5, 10, 20 years into the future, that plays a big part into the album getting that classic label to it. You know, if an album has some buzz when it drops and people are there for like the first week or two, but then they just kind of, I don't know, forget about it. In my opinion, there is not even an argument to be made there if the album is a classic or not. It's just not. It needs to stick with people. It needs to make a person come back to it and give it another listen, to keep listening to the songs from it and find new qualities they didn't spot before. That is also extremely important for a classic album. I feel like it needs to push some boundaries, at least in the genre or subgenre that it's in. It needs to try new stuff out. Without being experimental for its time, it's extremely hard to make a classic album. The things that would bring people back to actually listen to the album again to discover new things they missed is songs actually being good and of course how experimental it is. Now onto my main point that I wanted to make. I think an album needs to have cultural relevance or at least influence on the culture and even on music. I'll take Kanye as an example as I always do, but he has changed the culture so much with his work and the music he makes has had a massive impact on hip-hop. 808s and Heartbreak is his most influential record as it introduced 808s to rap music and it also brought around auto-tune. And literally all of today's beats have 808s in them. It caused controversy when it dropped too. People weren't too sure how to feel about it. It was so different from anything before that it caught people off guard. Revisiting the album now, it sounds great and timeless. I mean, this thing has been out for 14 years and it's aged so well that I wouldn't even question it if Kanye came out with it now. And plus it sounds fantastic, so what more can you ask for? All of those aspects help make a classic album. How it'll age? Is it culturally accepted as good? Does it get people talking? Does it push boundaries and try new ideas that haven't been seen before or rework existing ideas? I really do hate when people throw around the term classic. I think it should be a rare and treasured label, sort of like a 10 out of 10 rating. It's not something you would give out too often. It's for something special. Nowadays that doesn't happen anymore. People just call an album bad or a classic as soon as it comes out. I really don't think you can do that. Art and sort of adapting to the ideas that are being presented in the album would take another listen and definitely some time. So you know, go back to it. Give it a couple more listens. It won't hurt you. My most recent example of this was Whole Lotta Red by Playboi Carti. Twitter was on fire when Whole Lotta Red dropped. Safe to say the response wasn't so positive, like at all. That shit was like D-Day. But now going back to Whole Lotta Red, most people will agree it's a solid project and grew people, and I still listen to it to this day. I got on Ed Hardy, she got on stilettos. She my best friend, yeah, we not a couple. It presented something from Carti, a new aesthetic and a new sound he hasn't done before, so people are naturally thrown off. But as time passed, it helped solidify the album as a good addition to his discography. That same logic goes for classic albums. I'm not here to debate whether Whole Lotta Red is a classic album or not, that's for another video. But I will say, what Whole Lotta Red did, that's what usually happens with classic albums. Of course, for most albums, the split won't be as drastic as it was for Whole Lotta Red, because that was actually crazy. You know, like since I started using social media as a part of my day-to-day life, I've never seen anything like it. But look back at classic rap albums and you will notice that it's not always a unanimous decision. But as time goes on, the culture and the community tend to grow a liking for the album and appreciate it. I mentioned Kendrick at the start, but in no means am I trying to diss him. I think he's already got 2 classics, T-Pab and Good Kid, Mad City. I just think it's a bit rushed to call the album a classic already, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. I love the album, but only time can tell if it'll be a classic or not. And on that note, that's what I think is a classic. Tell me what you guys think. Do you agree with my opinion? Tell me some of your opinions down below. I've got some exciting videos coming up, so please make sure you subscribe. Like the video as well, that will help push the video and my channel into the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace!